Okay, we are recording. So this is a bit of an impromptu addition to our first round of portfolio live sessions. And what we're going to work on today is we're going to modify the resume and the capability deck. Now, this is going to be, I've got a role coming up that I really want to get. It's kind of the perfect fit from all aspects. And we're going to walk through that. We're going to take a look and see, okay, we made this rough resume, we made this rough portfolio. How do we now cater it towards a role that we really want to win? But before we dive into that, let's take another look at what we're dealing with. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through everything. We'll just do a bit of a recap on where we're at, and then we'll put together a plan. I think that would be nice. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Let's see. I am just pulling up the job description now, and then we will take a look through it. Okay, where is it? Here we go. Thankfully, it's public, so that makes it way easier. I'll share my screen, and then we'll pop on over. Share our screen. Okay, so this is a job. Now, this is a government job, and it's through a government portal. And I have a bit of a response, and the company I'm going to hopefully contract through has had a go at it for me. I sent them some details beforehand, and so they've kind of taken what I've said and tried to give me a version to make it as easy for me to complete as I can now. This is with the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. Now, this is a great fit personally for me because my last current role has been with the Civil Aviation Safety Authority. So this is the people that regulate planes pretty much and drones in Australia. And now this job is for the people who regulate all things boats. I'm ad-libbing here. I don't know as much about them as I wish I did in Australia. So it's kind of poetic in a way. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the criteria, the requirements, and we're going to do a quick check across our resume, our portfolio, and rejig them based upon that. So let's take a look at our portfolio. Let's boot that up. Let's open our Figma. If Mac wants to cooperate. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of all these lovely and wonderful tabs. Oop, lots and lots of tabs. Nope. Ben's portfolio, that's a tab. That's the one we want. Okay. Now, last we left off, we had our resume. Let's find that. This was not our resume. Here's all the messiness here. So let's also just make some space so I know what's what. The resumes are over here. Let's just clean this up just a little. That would be nice. Bring all the stuff that's nicely designed in line with each other down here. Okay. I was working on some potential website designs earlier. Okay, so let me turn my grids off. I always forget. Oh, with Shift G, there we go. Awesome. So we did our general and diverse one here. So we did some nice designs. We had some icons going on. We had some nice spacing. We had the descriptions doing pretty well. But there was an issue with this. The issue was that when you look at, if you're assessing me for a UX role and you look at the diversity of experience here, the depth isn't there. It's got a lot of breadth, but not much depth. We've got senior designer, and there's definitely a lot of design work there. We've got then all of a sudden switching to like a community facilitator, then a consultant. They're kind of related. Then we switch over to like a kind of an organization event manager, then a strategic designer, then a visual designer. So if you're assessing me purely for UX, some of these roles get in the way. So what do? There's a few things. First, we shift all the roles that are a bit less relevant to the bottom. That way our experience goes kind of according to what's most useful. Second thing we do, if we need to emphasize the time in a role, sometimes we might need to do that if we have a lot of roles here. We might add in an additional indicator here. So this is going to be the one we're going to work off today. Let's start with the resume. Now, there's a few elements here. I do like what I address here, and we'll actually copy and paste the thing in here. But first, the job description. But first, what I'm looking at is the the flow of the experience. Before I look at the details, I want to see like, okay, when you're looking at all my roles in conjunction with each other, how's it looking? Now, when we're going to look at this, there's a few things that are going to stand out. Let's look at this with some fresh eyes. This designer, the last role is with the Civil Aviation Safety Authority. That's great because it's in line a little with our regulations. So he has government experience, and I'm speaking third person. He's definitely got regulation experience, so that's great here. He was a senior designer and team lead. Awesome. Now he's mentioning service design capability. I'm looking for a UX designer, so that's not as relevant. So that's my first impression. So first, what we might do, we're going for service, like a senior UX designer here. So first thing I want to do is emphasize my most important stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shift all the experience down. Now I want my service design stuff to become more of the secondary capabilities here. So we've got the design system. Great. That really showcases a hyper strong UX role. We then talk about the design and tested over 50 new services and led major user experience designs of the CAS Online Services Portal, used by over 49,000 monthly users. Great. That's the order. I'm not assessing the pinpoint accuracy first. I want to just start with kind of layout and order, and then we'll move into the detail. We might need to rejig things, some things from there. Okay, so clearly this guy's got some great experience from a UX lens. He's also got some service design experience, so that's definitely interesting. And some leadership, that's great. So facilitation as well, that's very cool. Something I'm going to add in here is also want to do new design initiatives and project kickoffs. Okay, so now that's showing I can also launch design initiatives and I'm also leading projects. So it's more of a principal designer. So there's some great information there. Now, one thing I'm tempted right now is to remove one of these dot points. Every dot point I have dilutes the overall ratio of my skills. So if I really want to hyper focus on UX, I might end up getting rid of these. Maybe I might get rid of the service design capability. This one's going to be really targeted for this role. But we're not going to remove yet. We're going to do the layout, the order, and then we'll see how the flow and the cut and the specificity goes. So we've got conducted detailed usability testing. That's great. That's really what we want, including in-depth interviews, screen analysis, and recommendations. Now, that's good. That's fine. I think the next role was my Department of Education. Now, I was a strategic designer, but I also was a service designer. And I want to highlight that so they don't think I'm just strategy. Now, looking at this, we did service design for large data projects. This is really communicating. I already remember some aspects of this. Now, there's a piece of experience here that's really good for this role that's missing, and I'm going to add that in. So I conducted in-field usability testing, or more of user research with apprentices, employers, and job providers. Cool. I've been specific. I said who, and I've said kind of what. Interviews with, because that's really important. I'll show you why in a sec. Okay, then if we shift over to the next, now this is getting a little different, where we're talking about my services. This is doing, I'm saying that I've trained people in design and leadership. For this sort of role, this is just saying, hey, I have a lot of knowledge and experience working with people, and I have a lot of knowledge experience with design. And now this is a little different from event organization because it is event org rather than UX, but it's design specific. So it's secondary, but it's not as relevant to the rest. If they had another candidate and their 3 roles was also to do with UX design, then their length and breadth of experience is going to stand out over mine. These are good, but they're really not primary for this role. Okay, what else have we got? A case study club design coach. So that's really talking about leadership. Now, if I'm applying, I am applying for what I think is a senior UX designer, and we'll look at that. So the leadership aspect can sometimes be an interesting boon. I need to demonstrate I have enough experience. It's not 1 role. It's not 2 roles. 3 roles would be perfect here. There's also a few things. I've already covered facilitation in some of these roles. What we could do is if facilitation is a key word, we can keep it in one of these sub roles and just remove it from one of our primary roles. That way we still meet the requirements, but we're also not double loading here. Now, the last one, the Health Horizon Visual Designer, that's definitely relevant. It shows a bit more diverse design experience. There's some information around data analysis. We're talking about overall visual design, so I think it's a nice addition. Okay, so that's a quick critique and breakdown. Let's take a look at the actual job role. I had a read through and then I did an assessment. Now we're going to do kind of like a second round to assess this job role because I really personally want this role. It's kind of the perfect next step for me in terms of my day job, shifting over to more remote roles, bit higher pay as well. That's always nice. So let's do a bit of an analysis of this job role here. And there's a few things we can do. We're looking for keywords. We're looking for other things like how much experience, what are they emphasizing, what are they not saying? Because if there's stuff they're not saying, then that's not always as important. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at these roles. Okay, so the Australian Maritime Safety Authority is seeking an experienced UX and UI designer to support the delivery of a new customer portal for near coastal seafarers. Very cool. Seafarers, that's a cool word. So, it's part of an agile delivery team and connected to a mature in-house UX team. The successful candidate will be instrumental in shaping the end user experience. So, some things stand out here. Obviously, we're going to, let's see, can I do some highlighting? I find highlighting very useful. So we've got new customer portal. So we're talking about kind of new stuff here. So that's one aspect. We're talking, they obviously say experienced UX UI designer. We're working with agile teams and a mature in-house team. So showing, and at least the way in the criteria. So often when we send the resume, we're also going to have some criteria sent. So I can address some of that there and relate it to my resume. And they say transactional level. That pretty much means it's like forms and digital services, etc. Let's look at that essential criteria. And this is what we'll be directly addressing. And my resume kind of supports how we address these criteria. Experience in leading user experience design for digital products and services. Easy. My latest CASA role just completely knocks that out of the park. Especially B2B web application spaces. What I can do, I'm going to add some notes. I'm going to use a comment feature, and I'm going to talk about maybe specific. So the MyCasa portal, which is what I have worked on, has fairly significant B2B, B2C, and B2B. So we're the business here in many ways. And the things that I can highlight if I draw that out is the licensing. The note, and I've looked at their website. So licensing, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Notifications are stuff we're dealing with. Applications, these are all those transactional things. So if I'm going to mention specifics, then we're going to do that. Medical applications, that's another one. Notifying CASA of events and incidents. Now, what I want to do is, because I'm such what I think is a strong applicant for this role, I want to take a look at what I can from their website, and this is when we're trying to really target. Obviously, we can't do this with every single role, but for the ones we think we have a really good chance at them, it can be worth doing that. So I've done a little bit of look at their website, and there's a lot that could be improved. Now, the first thing on their homepage gives me a clue in terms of the transactions and the stuff they're doing. We've got things like register or update your distress beacon. So boats have distress beacons and you got to register them. That's what they mean by transaction. So that tells me a lot. Now, if I click the register button, oh Lord, okay. We can find their account. Yeah, this needs some work. Sign in button. We got, if I click this, yeah, okay, I see why they need some help. But that's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what designers are for. They clearly, this is some of the transactions we're talking about. So if I have anything like that I can relate here, that's going to really help with this sort of work. Now, another note here is my design system work as part of CASA. So these are the services I've worked on. And to really hammer this home, we're talking about design system patterns for digital government services, including things, including form design, transactional applications. I'm trying to use some of their words here. Notifications for expiry and renewal of licenses of, no, I want to say, yeah, we'll just go renewal. Okay, now there's some extra stuff I can potentially do here around, I'm just going to put some words here that might not work for everyone. Just going to put those defect reporting. There's a system that we're in the middle of redesigning, as well as the dashboard redesigns. So dashboard redesign is like the major portal. So redesigning their major portal is something most likely they'll want to do. It's kind of common across government. Okay, designing, delivering information architectures, wireframes, user interface designs, design asset libraries. That's, again, the reason why I'm so keen on this role is that's easy. So I've got the info architecture for the dashboard designs. We've got the wireframe, both not only the designs, but also I created the process. So that's handy. Design asset libraries. Again, that's design system stuff. Design systems, it's our icons, it's our all of our assets. Chances are they don't have a design system. The only negative of this role is they may want me to make it, and that's a whole other thing. Okay, what else we got? Conducting user research and user testing using visual tools, analytics, and evidence to map journeys and drive improvement. Now, this is where the service design work that I've got comes really use. So we're going to do the usability testing is key here. I'm not sure if anyone's on the call. I'm just going to double check. Nope, cool. It's okay. That's why this is being recorded. So usability testing, we've got the user journeys here, and this went into prototypes in some of our work, so we just want to mention that. They talk about analytics. Now that's an interesting one. Using visual tools, and visual tools, I use Miro. So chances are by them saying that, they're like, oh, do you know how to use Miro? So we're going to mention Miro. What else? I can also mention my services design and journey mapping work in the, before I forget, topic of education. So what we did is we mapped experience, then we went out and did user research and discovered the experience was wrong. They didn't care about half the stuff that we were after. Okay, multidisciplinary teams and stakeholder relationships. Easy, I work in government. It's all of that. So this is going to be dev team and the stakeholder teams across CASA, and also the projects I've been driving. We want to mention driving, which is going to be the service design, the new service work here. Work for medical pilots. I'm just mentioning specific work I've done. The more specific I am, the cooler it is. Now, a key note here. I don't want to be essay length. I don't want to be detailed. I want to be short, simple, quick, and to the point. Because their decision is not to hire me. Their decision is to get me in for an interview. And if I can get into the interview, I can win the day. My portfolio is going to be uploaded as part of this probably as well. So they'll have my resume, my portfolio, and my response. Demonstrated ability to articulate your vision and design recommendations. I drive pretty much all of our critique sessions. I drive the critique sessions for our team. Numerous services developed with crits, options, and negotiations between stakeholders. Yep, that's nice and easy. Now, the only weakness I may have is if you ask me to talk about the digital service standard, and WCAG, I'm a little loose. Agile methodology, I can talk about that all day. Been doing that for years. Ability to work in an embedded, blah, blah, blah. Translating UX strategy, yep. Cool, they're just saying words now. Yep. Awesome. And last but not least, experience in large digital transformations. Definitely have that. I did this in a project called AMS. I also did this in a project called NEEB, now known as... no, I'm going to have to refer to it. It's old acronym because I don't remember. But also the CASA digital transformation as well. Okay, so we got our notes. We know the different pieces of experience that are going to target this. Now, how I'm going to respond to this criteria is not through my resume, but I do want to make sure that each of these points is reinforced in my resume and reinforced in the portfolio. So let's take a look. What did we have first? We had mentioning the MyCasa portal and the significant B2C. So let's grab these. I'm going to put these next to here. So this is going to be CASA. Now, I don't want to be super detailed here. My criteria are going to address that in a little more detail, but I want to make sure at least some of these things are roughly mentioned. So the design system, including detailed design and documentation of over 70 components, patterns, and templates. That just meets the whole requirement around UX, design systems. What else? Form design. They don't need to know if they know anything at all about that, and even just a tidbit, that's going to give you pause to be like, oh, this guy knows. At least we're looking for the big ticket, the UX. Do you have the details? They're going to have a list of skills. They're going to have UX skills, maybe wireframing. And if I said I designed and tested over 15 new services and led major user experience redesigns, that's going to show my capability for leading a lot of that work. So that ticks our boxes for leading user experience designs for digital products. It's going to tick our experience for the wireframes, user interface, visuals, the design, all of that. What else? It says the experience working in there, the design recommendations, it definitely ticks that. Now, some aspects I would like to add in here is that the specific mention around accessibility and the digital service standard. So how do we add that? Those are pretty big things for government. So let's see, learn and design, first starts including detailed design and documentation of over 70 complaints, patterns and templates. And integration, I'm going to try and rough it with WCAG A11Y and the digital service standard. Cool. We've at least ticked the box on those very important aspects, because I've done some recruiting for people, and you'd be surprised by how many people know to include this but just don't, especially for my work. So let's see, digital service standard. Yep, we've said it. The words there, we don't need anything else. This is WCAG, and one thing they haven't written down is it's actually WCAG 2.2. So I'm gonna I'll see if I can one up them there. Okay, that's good. Design and tested services. Yep, the service design capability here is good because it talks about that journey mapping, the future state, all of that. Now, I think the weakest link here is the facilitation of planning and strategy workshops. We're running out of space, so we might need to remove that. So I'm going to remove that because we have facilitation elsewhere. My case study club stuff just completely handles that. Okay, let's chuck it over here. Maybe we'll include it, but if we're unsure and we think we've already got it, we're going to, by default, cut. Okay, what else we got? Including performance management, project management, mentorship, and coaching. Great. This one is really about the usability testing here. Something we haven't mentioned, actually, going back to this, we didn't talk about the user research. We haven't talked about any of that. So let's see, can we at least mention that? Because it's my latest role. They're going to pay the most attention to that. And then major redesigns. So I think somewhere around here, this is important. Discovery interviews. I'm also going to put, where did we mention prototyping? We haven't mentioned prototyping. I'd like to use that word. Design and tested over 15 new services, and led major user experience redesigns of the CAS Online Service Portal. Let's see if we can add it here, including usability, testing, information architecture, workshops, and I'm just going to put the words including. It's not the best way to do the sentence, but honestly, I've seen the quality of some things. So if we can slip these in, I think that'll do good. Let's see. Designed and tested over 15 new services and led major user experience redesigns. If we include it as part of here, which one if we just figure out how to... Okay, there's a thing we're going to do. I'm just going to say including usability testing, including prototyping, usability testing, information architecture, mapping. So I want this in order. So we're actually going to go information architecture mapping. So he's prototyping, usability, and usability testing. I kind of want to include like the handoff between devs because I like mentioning that, but we're getting too detailed here. Of new and existing services. I'd really like to mention that dashboard redesign thing, but we're running out of space. What we can do now is something I like to do is jump over to ChatGPT, because we're just working with how do I get this into a cohesive sentence. And when it comes to AI is great at that. Make this cleaner and simple, but keeping all the keywords. Now oops. Oh, it knows. I've fed it some. It knows about me. It's one of the new memory features of ChatGPT. It knows who I am. There we go. Let's see. Led UX customer service, including. Okay, it's kind of what I was going to say anyway, but still good. Led UX redesigns for the customer service with 49 plus monthly users, including information architecture. Users, it's good enough. What we might do at some point is just run these through and be like, hey, can you just clean these up? We might even feed it the job description as well and kind of just use it to tweak and change and test these and get it to maybe even ask it to review this and be like, what else should I mention? That can be a really great use here. Okay, that's more targeted. I like that a lot more. I'm going to ask it to maybe do it for the first sentence because I like what it did. Do it again for this paragraph of my resume, just so it knows the kind of text I'm trying to do. Cool. Did I? Yeah. Okay. They just made it kind of separate sentences. Now, led the creation, led design and development. Is it missing anything, including detailed design and documentation? Oops. I'm just going to keep that. CASA. And let's just add that in there. Senior designer. I guess kind of UX designer. I could change my role slightly. I might even remove this secondary role just so it's clear. Let's see, senior designer here. Now, some things that are missing. It kind of doesn't really say much. Maybe let's try adding dates to these and see what happens if I added dates, because I kind of want to point out how long I've been there. So I've been there for 2 years. So we're going to go 2022 to 2024. How does that look design-wise? Because I hate that. Let's try brackets. We're going to keep this simple because honestly, these small design aspects right now aren't going to matter much for the kind of role that I'm applying for. Let's also give it just a slight graying. Okay, that's better. I can live with that. I think I can live with this. I can live with Now for this role, we was 2021 to 2022. And this role was 2020 to 2020, 2021, 2021. Awesome. Now, something to be mindful of, what people might think about this is I seem to hop around jobs a lot. Just looking at the years here, there's some ways I could combat that. Honestly, I'm not going to. I don't like adding dates personally, but I'm doing it for emphasis, and I might remove them. We'll see how we go. Maybe I'll do like 2024, maybe just like the 2022 to like current, just so they know this is like my latest. Really don't like adding dates though. Yeah. Don't like brackets, and we're just getting design chops now. I want that like that really long. So that button? No, what's the really long hyphen? Long hyphen shortcut. There's like a long specific control key, alt key, and the minus sign, eh? Control key, alt key, minus. That ain't doing it. That Mac. I think there's a word for this long dash, but alt shift dash. Okay, let's try that. Alt shift dash. It's not working. M dash. Okay, option shift. I don't have an option. Shift M dash. Yeah, right. Now we're just Googling for it. The EM dash. That's what I'm after. Shift. So confusing. Option. Okay, well it says it's hyphen. Let's give it a go. Ah, there we go. It was the wrong hyphen. Cool. Okay, that's I can deal with that. That's a bit better. Okay, let's use our. Now I wouldn't mind if the date was kind of like over here or in line with this. I like that more. Cool. That's staying a lovely color of black. Cool. I suggest fine-tuning some visual aspects. What if I chucked two of them there? No, that's not going to happen. We're not doing that. One more design thing. How about that? Okay, I like that more. We're going with that. But let's also make that the gray, because it's meant to be secondary information. I despise brackets sometimes. Okay, there we go. Figured out the design. That's what we want. And I mean, I've seen other people's resumes. It's a pretty good resume in comparison, at least for the kind of work I do. Okay, I'm pretty happy with CASA. Like it's ticking all the right boxes. It says, okay, you've been here 2 years. So what else? What else we got? The usability testing is really good there. I think that works super well. The service design and community engagement project for government and private industry, research analysis and research analysis. Let's also go to like desktop review and doesn't really talk. I honestly would probably get rid of this because it's just it's useful, but it's just kind of getting in the way of all the rest of the text. I don't want them to pay attention to that. I want them to pay attention to these. Sometimes less is more, and if I have some more room to flesh out our Department of Education stuff, we're going to do that. I also did wireframing here. So let's see how we'll do some of that. So I did, see, project manager for a pilot project for uplifting data visualization reporting capabilities to map. I don't like the way that's worded. Legal teams, cool, that works. Hey, if I can add more to CASA, I totally would. And I mean, I probably could actually, now that I think about it. We could just like go, here's all the stuff at CASA, but here's some supporting information. Now, I wish I could have the Department of Education there, That would be nice, but we're not going to. Now, executive designer, that was my formal role. I can just say designer. I don't want them to think I'm too overqualified, so that's an aspect there. So I'm going to add to this designer, maybe then, and I was kind of like a UX designer, strategic designer, and service designer. I was kind of all the design. Conducted in-field user research from apprentices, employers, job providers. I want them to see that. Service design for large data projects, including current and future state mapping, in-field and future state mapping. Yep, that works. Data and let's make sure we're using some of the words. Transformation projects. Now, if I could be more specific here, I think it would be way more powerful. How could we be more specific? So this one is conducted in-field user research interviews with apprentices, employers, and job providers for a large data transformation project. That's one. We're also going to do web design and project web design. Also did some Scrum mastering, I guess. There's some stuff missing from this one, I think. Strategic design advisor for the design to development. I'm gonna also say we want to mention those kind of agile things. So the agile design development framework. Hopefully these aren't too jargony. If I'm going to, we can hear the big cockatoos outside. Strategic design advisor for agile for the department's agile design to development framework. That's kind of I helped inform. Here's a framework for design and development. That's where the strategic designer part comes in. For large data transformation including current state and future state mapping, in-field user research, wireframing, process mapping, and future state experience mapping. Cool, there we go. We've gotten pretty... Now, again, we're kind of specific. So we said large data and transformation projects. That's more specific would be way stronger. This one's pretty good. We've gotten some really good strength here for a large data system transformation project. I'm going to add the words legacy. So we're really specific here, and specific is good. Now, I don't want to say service designer. I want to actually instead say current state mapping, current and future state mapping, including... we've repeated in-field user research, so I don't want to repeat that. Wireframing, process mapping, and experience map. Being for large data and transformation projects. Okay, that's good enough. I don't like it, but it's going to be probably good enough to get us through the interview stage. I don't think it's perfect, and I would like to make it perfect. I would like the project management part here to be under the strategic advisor part. I was also kind of leading the agile part of our team. We have enough room for one more. Led the agile capabilities. Led agile methodology processes for the core HCD team and worked with the PMO Agile coach on my brain's losing it. Lead and lead. Yeah, the brain's going. Let's see. Lead agile. So I ran agile, going crazy. Led the events, the workshops, did a ton of that to build a UX backlog. You know what? Speaking of which, we're going to remove this. I did do that, but we're going to leave it because there's one thing missing. I also led the design team to evolve and build forward. Cool, there we go. Now we've got a lot of services here, so I kind of spacing is going to kill me a little. We're doing 32 spacing. Could probably minus it by a 4-point font, and we'll reserve. We're reaching the end of the page, and that makes me very uncomfortable. Oh, we've already. I thought I was about to say. Maybe there's a way we can combine these two together. Let's ask GPT. Combine these two into one statement. Maybe it'll give us something good. Let the code in. I don't like the whole word project oversight. It makes me uncomfortable. That is better. Led the core design team in adopting to evolve and build a UX backlog. Managing a high-performing team through performance management. Mentorship. I don't like the word project oversight, and I refuse to use it. Okay, so what else we got? Now, some of these are going to have to go into me addressing the selection criteria, and I actually use ChatGPT. What I do for this is I feed it all the data, I make these notes, and then I verbally read the note, like go through the notes and just to input the data into GPT and then get it to write me a draft, and then I edit. And I'll see if I can show you that on call. Okay, there's some stuff here we're not directly mentioning, but that's okay. I think remember the resume is a snapshot. I can be a little more detailed in the criteria. Yep, we've kind of mentioned all of them. Dev team, stakeholder, yep. I mean, it's kind of there in a lot of what we're saying. Drive the critique sessions, yep, because they're going to ask me a lot about this in the interview, not necessarily in the resume. You can only fit so much. Okay, I think our resume is almost done. A concerning part here is probably going to be this. Now, there's a few things we could do. We could remove a role, like we could remove this as doing. We could shift think place into the spot where this is doing is and add more to the past two roles. That's something we could do. I really don't like ruining the timeline here, so like I might not do that, even if it's not the best for this, just because everyone notices it. It's always something you notice, and it kind of just sticks in your head a little. So I'd rather not. Instead, we're going to try and see if there's some way we can change the way these are worded to be more along the same lines. Now we don't have dates. I'm going to put some dates. So just thinking about my past roles. 2022 to current. Really? Wow. Sorry, it's blowing my mind how long it's been. Let's try, see what we can do here. We might even shorten it. It's okay for it to be a little short. I don't mind. I think I'd rather than ramble on because the proportion of skills I talk about versus the proportion of skills in UX versus things that aren't really that relevant to them. I don't want that balance to be too upset, because if it is, I'm going to be like saying I'm 50-50 manager, 50-50 UX. Really, I want them to see maybe 70% or 60 to 75% UX, maybe 25% leadership. that kind of percentage is good. If I'm hiring a UX designer and I give you a resume that kind of talks half about how I run events or how I am a great manager, you're going to be like, wait, but that's not what I'm hiring for. So I don't want to dilute that too much. So I'm going to try and really emphasize the word design for one thing. This should be managed and led a fully remote team for training development. I could integrate agile here. We did have like some stand-ups. We did have all that. I'm just going to say agile business team for training development. We're just finding what are some wording that's like technically accurate, but like, yeah. Led the management, led and managed case study club. And something we can do here is, if you're unsure and you've got things like this, what you can do is you feed it to ChatGPT, you feed some of this, and you'll be like, okay, can you make these, find a way to make these, to word these in a way that shows a strong correlation. Yeah, development of product and growth strategy, community experience, contributing to a 2023 revenue increase of 35.9%. More specific, the better. Visual design and marketing of posters and visual of posters or I'm just going to say marketing materials and posters for the International Hospital Congress that was shown to over 10,000 attendees. Data analysis and visual includes health data, so it kind of talks a little about my data kind of background. And if I put that all the way back, I'm just going to put an end. I'm not going to put a start date. I don't mind that on the first one. I kind of like to put the start date on these. So I'm not a fan of saying my end date. Kind of like just saying the start date here. So you can kind of read between the lines, so to speak. Now, there are a few issues with that. And those are that, obviously, I've got some simultaneous jobs going on here. So they'll notice that, which is okay. I don't mind. They'll be like, geez, this guy's been working double jobs at once. Unfortunately, we might not always be able to resist that, but or to prevent that, but that is okay. Now, I think I did this in 2019. I'm just going to ballpark those dates. Actually, no, what we should do is make sure that those dates match up with our LinkedIn, because if they don't, people are going to look. So let's take a look at that, because I do have that role on my LinkedIn and everything's going to build off my LinkedIn, really. Okay. And you're going to see way more stuff on here as well. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not, depending on what you're doing. So they're going to see the granularity of my jobs, actually. So community manager, communications coordinator, visual designer, here you go, 2018. 2018, cool. That way they sync up, or else you don't want it to look like you're accidentally lying, even if it's not an accident. Okay, now something I want to do here, I want to swap these two roles just because they're not really, they're kind of more of, what's the word? They're a bit different. Case study club's a little closer. Its date's a bit closer. I think this is was 2001 or 2002. Let's double check. Let's just make sure these are on alignment, because we don't. 2021. Because if you look at this, really what you've got is you've got 3 roles. You don't really have 6 roles. It looks like 6, but these are part-time. You have 4. That's 2018. Then it goes kind of 2-year gap. And it's like, what was they doing between those 2 years? Interesting question. But it is reinforced by the Service Design Executive School, the Scrum Fundamentals. So I think this is about as good as we're going to get. We've got my LinkedIn on here, I think. Oh, that's an issue. I put a website, but I don't have a website. So what we might do is, I have the website, so we might put in a redirect. So if anyone anyone does try and go to that account, I want it to redirect to my LinkedIn. That's going to be a good alternative here. Okay. And you guys can watch me do that. Name cheap. That's where I get my domains from. I'm just going to stop sharing quickly. If you want to know how to redirect a domain to your LinkedIn because you don't have a website or anything, there are guides. So I would recommend that. Just going to stop sharing so you don't see my password. Secrets. Ooh. Hope that's the right domain name. Oh, Internet Case Study Club. That is. Nope, that's the wrong domain name. Oops. Go back. And log in. This is the boring part of the call. Skip forward by a few minutes if you want. Okay. Here's the right one. Account has been locked for 24 hours. Please use the reset button. For 3 consecutive. I didn't fail 3 times. Please use the reset button. Fine. I'm going to reset it for like the 30th time. I swear at this point. There you go. Reset password. Namecheap really uses a username, and I kind of wish they just didn't. It's been ages since people use usernames. I don't get why they do, but that's okay. We'll deal with that redirect later. Let's get back to the portfolio. Now, there's a few elements I really want to add to the portfolio, and I've been working on them sneakily behind the scenes. We're going to say that this is going to be, I think, good enough. This first whole page, hopefully, will be enough. It's 4 years of experience, when you look at it. 2 years in one role and another 2 years. So I think that's going to be hopefully enough to get us through. If not, there must be some really good candidates as well. So we will go through that. Something I'm just thinking about here is 2020 to 2021. This kind of sometimes says, oh, you've only been here for a year. But if we actually go back to the LinkedIn, and what I might actually do is I'm going to just take my LinkedIn link and I'm going to swap that for that website link. When we go back to my strategic designer role, it's actually almost 2 years there in a way. Started in April 2021 and started in January 2022. So it's about one and a half years. So hopefully that is taken well. But we're going to swap this out for LinkedIn. And you can see my screen, right? Yes, you can. It's got the LinkedIn URL, so that's okay. So we're going to leave that there. I think that is going to be good enough. So we'll export that later and send it to the recruiters. Now, portfolio. I'm going to duplicate my portfolio and we're going to use a specific one for this role. Everything for this role is specific because I consider it high likelihood. The UX/UI designer, because I know what the portfolios in government are like. It doesn't take much to be special here. For it to be like, oh, that's really nice. And I know how those first looks especially go for here. So having a bit of personalization in a place where there's not much personalization can really help. See, Australia Maritime Safety Authority. I'm going to check my spelling on that because if we don't, chances are it ain't going to work. Australian Maritime Safety Authority. Maritime. Yep, that's right. Authority. Australian, not Australia. You don't want the name spelled wrong. You do that and they're just like, come on, that was the most basic of basic. 7th of March. Well, the date. 2024. Correctamundo. I'm going to, instead of calling it capability deck, I'm just going to call it portfolio deck. Wonderful. Got the two things I've done recently. I lead the Case Study Club design community where I coach designers on their product career growth. Now, if I am grading whether I like this or not, I actually think these two things are okay. I think there's a lot more that could be improved here. And I'm going to maybe show some examples of that. We've got my latest work, something I would like to do. I'm just double checking. Okay. I want to do an indicator here. So I have this cover here and it says, oh, here's Civil Aviation Safety Authority. But I want something to be like, hey, you're looking at my latest work. So what I'm going to do, because you go from me to all of a sudden cover page. So I want this to be a little bit of a note to them almost. So let's go something, I think Sharpie handwritten would do well. Let's see if we can find something. Sharpie would be good actually, because I want it to be almost like just like I've scribbled sideways a little on the on the, you know, you've gotten this, maybe it's printed as a PDF. No idea what font would be a Sharpie though. That's a good question. Put the word Sharpie. Does that do anything? Nope. We're gonna have to manually scroll through these. Okay. This normally should. Okay. I want to select this, and now we're gonna. I don't want to adjust that. I want to. Okay, I've got to hover over it. It's okay. Let's keep going. I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm going to look really close so I can see all the fonts. I don't like that cursive. Too cursive. The Salic's not bad. I always do like Salic. Sarah, salsa. No, we're not doing salsa. Sand Creek. Just go with something that does not match our portfolio at all for Anna Music. That's not bad, actually. Actually, yeah, it is bad. Never mind. Okay, it needs to be easy to legible, and we want it to kind of not stand out too much, because else it just looks out of place. Looks like you've drag and dropped it and put no effort into it. This probably doesn't matter as much as I am taking this to mean that's not bad. What do we have? Shadows in my hand. My latest work. That's okay. Let's go with our existing font instead of trying to incorporate a new one. Let's just see what we can do there. Whoop. Oh, it takes you to the My Casa portal. That's cool. My latest work. So let's see how we go if we just use the default font. We need to go, maybe let's try our condensed. We have a condensed font here, so that's useful. Condensed extra bold. I like the idea of something like slightly sideways. Maybe it's over here. Maybe over here. Maybe my latest role. Kind of subtext. How's that? Oops. Let's chuck it above here. Oh god, I'm ruining my stuff. Okay, I want this center aligned with that. Okay, I think we're going to keep there, however the bolding throws me off. So what if we reduce semi-bold? What if it's condensed light, condensed regular? What if it's just regular thin? That's not working. Condensed italic, nope. This is important to me. It's not very important, but it's important to me. Cool, let's go with that. And what if it was all bold? My latest role. Is that even how you spell latest? latest work. It's not a very good. It's not a very good way of putting it. My latest role, my latest work. It's kind of at odds with the rest of all the work. What if we did that? No. Okay. Tell you what. Let's take this out of the equation. Put it sideways. Nope, that's terrible as well. Okay, let's keep it as, let's go consistent with the headers. There's always something in the header. We're going to do this. And if I put that over here, there we go, we got it. My latest work. And we're going to have to change it to black just to really... Okay, now we have an indicator. This is like a, hey, you're on this page. You're like, okay, portfolio projects. And okay, you're showing me my latest work. That's very good. Put it there. Nah, I think it's better to stop there. It's not going to be perfect, but it's definitely going to be better than some things. Building a scalable hub for aviation services. We've got nice icons in the background. It looks good. Okay. CASA Project 1, we're saying challenges, frustrations with handoff to developers and business analysts, resulting in excellent designs and growing UX debt. Low visibility design decisions, including accessibility, and common patterns resulted in conflicting designs, resolving the same problems and limiting strategic design decisions. Product was not scalable as it anticipated to triple in size over the next 2 years. Usability issues were increasing. Yep. And we also had like slow design prototyping process was based on code-driven prototypes, increasing rework from feedback, and so yes, slow design prototyping process was based on a code first approach, increasing rework, resulting in long and detailed prototyping processes, growing code base to maintain, and high rework. And rework from feedback. Okay, hopefully that's I just want to add 4 elements to that. Product order and cultivates the CASA website and the current My CASA portal. So we're just showing type and scale systems. I want to add a note that these are not final designs. These are also not complete designs. Design system QA checklist. Yep, cool. Latest service design using the design system in the core design teams. Cool. So they're like, oh, cool. You're also tracking the state of services. Now, something I do dislike about this whole thing is this is, say, CASA Project 1. This just says CASA Project 2. So I need that consistency or else I'm just going to scream. So we're going to extend this by 1 slide. Cool. We're going to take this. We're going to say CASA Project 2. I don't know why we didn't do this last time, but apparently we did. Okay. Paste to replace. And we're going to team information architecture. Now I think I might have access to like actual dashboard concepting designs, so those would be super cool. one of three. I want to emphasize that this is just one of three dashboard concepts. So I'm going to see if I can just grab an extra picture or two. Because this is just a quick little insight. We give a big kind of portfolio project here at the start, and then we're kind of giving a zoomed in version, which is this dashboard redesign, which is kind of quick. It's light. It's not too heavy. It's like a smaller piece of work. So you get a big picture, then you get a small zoomed in piece of work. So you see process, patterns, all of those sorts of things, and then you get this. So let's see if I can grab those pictures. Might have done it in FigJam instead. So just that up. I've been talking too much. Charming. Oh, okay. We want the prototyping concepts. Where are they? Crazy 8 concepts, that's what we're after. Can't see exactly what I'm doing, but you know, we're gonna grab some lovely pictures of these because I think they look cool. And they look good. It's like, you can see Crazy 8 concept works, very cool. You actually know how to do workshops. I think that is very valuable. So we're gonna do that. Sending them through now. Portfolio pics. Highly recommend when you are doing work, send yourself periodically screenshots. If you have Notion or something, send yourself those. Just of some of like the latest work maybe you've done. And it really helps the process of actually having work later on. And I'm just grabbing screenshots. This is a FigJam board we did dashboard concepting work on. And I am just getting that going. Cool. That should do it. Now there's other things I did definitely in my role, but I obviously there's only so much I can include. I am tempted to like expand out my CASA work, but there's kind of a sneaky extra tip on top that I don't really care if they think I'm the top from an experience perspective, because I know I'm not. I've got 4 years experience. That has some benefits, it has some disadvantages as well. What I want to do is show them, hey, I'm such a good catch. Sure, I might not be experienced, but I have the reputation. I might not have the hours, but I've got the reputation. So that's where we're focusing on here, and that's what I want my portfolio and everything else to kind of communicate. So we're going to drop in just a few more pictures. I'm going to grab a few of these lovely sketches. I love showing sketches. I think it's super valuable. I'm unafraid to show sketches. I want them to be like, huh, that's totally a sound people make. Here we go. Okay. I don't mind if they're small. I can't fit everything in on one page. I'm not going to try. I'm going to just be like, hey, here's stuff. Here's some visual proof. Card sorting, crazy 8 concepting, and high fidelity designs. Concepting, is that a wrong word? Is it a double T? Conception. Concept designs. Cool. Added some pictures. I really just wanted to kind of, I really don't like how these images are grouped. This does not make me a hap. Maybe if I just kind of shift these over Let's just remove one of them. Cool. Let's round the corners. That softens things a little. And it kind of shows, oh, this is 32. No, let's go 16. There we go. I like that. That kind of softens things more. It's more in line with everything else we're doing too. Cool. Okay. So now we've got the challenges. I also need to just make sure that we include these: information architecture. This is going to be patterns and branding. I'm just mentioning some of those keywords really, and research. Challenges. Okay, so architectural challenges. This is the load time and I guess the load time and the server load and load time are getting increasingly heavy as services increased. Product scaling with a expected to double in services in the next 12 months. Finding ways to group services was getting difficult. My Casa. Oh, wait, no, this is my Casa. Yep. These are not meant to be bolded, I think. Did we do that on the other one? Just keep things consistent. Cool. I'm just really want them to know this is targeting a proper problem. So we've got the architectural challenges, service load, and load time were getting increasingly long as services were added. Load challenges, product scaling, server quest and load and site load time getting increasingly long as services were added. My Casa was expected to double in services in the next 12 months, finding ways to group services while maintaining the usability was getting increasingly difficult, was getting more difficult. There we go. Branding. Recent branding changes. Branding designs for the Casa website. Implemented with executive and design team wanting to unify the brand across touch points. That was another one. And lastly, personalization. Past challenges in service findability and information architecture. The team had identified challenges in service findability, information architecture, and a growing need for standardization. Cool. I think that's good enough. It kind of talks about it. They're not going to read these in depth. As long as they see architecture and load, product scaling, branding, personalization. I don't need them to read the rest. I don't expect them to either. Okay, did we round the corners of this? Yes, we did. Cool. So let's see. What about this one? Oh, thank God I already did this. Large complex medical project, past industry failure. Didn't work. It's a past industry failure. Didn't work. To revise medical certifications. Didn't work. Damaging CAS's reputation and created fear of failure, reducing risk taking or new approaches. This reduced risk taking or new approaches like service design and design thinking. Cool. We've added a few more words there. Large, complex medical project creates a long engagement and debate time. Creates long engagement and debate times for determining answers around medical capabilities and risk. Determining. Cool. It's also this is a consistency thing here. This I kind of want these two grouped together, and I don't like that they're not. 16. Yeah, that's a bit better. Let's do that. Oh, I actually like the spacing. Let's try that again. What are they at? 32. Let's halve it. Oh, no, come back. Portfolio. Oh, thank God. 32 is better than. Oh, or is it? Oh, that's difficult. Okay, we'll go 16. Proximity is real. Okay, so that's halfway, is it? Why do I not like that? Yeah, I like that. Don't like that. We'll stick with what we got. Doesn't need to be perfect. That's okay. Okay, what about this one? Let's just get that spacing. It annoys me. It's a little thing, but details sometimes matter. Okay, so we got challenges. We've got showcasing the work. Now, we don't talk about outcomes. I haven't talked about outcomes. I haven't showcased the outcomes. And I'm not going to. Probably not for the CASA services. I've detailed it enough in my resume that I don't think they need to see it. They've seen the challenges. They've seen the evidence. I'm going to add another layer of evidence here. There's a few things I would love to do. One is definitely, I would totally love to add more evidence. But what I want to do is I want to take this over here, bring it all the way over here. This is like oh, hang on, I've already done that. No, I haven't. I've kind of half done it. So I want this consistency on my pages. Other work. So now I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to phrase this. So let's see. Strategic facilitation for projects, product planning. Strange. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a tie-in. I'm going to say other work, and all the way back here, I'm going to say that fourth project is not a project. It's going to be other work. Actually, it's not really portfolio projects, is it? I mean, it's kind of is, but it's kind of CASA portfolio projects. And then it's kind of like a second one, actually. And it's like, then it'll be other work. It's kind of that. So if I got like rid of those, it's kind of this. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it kind of simple. Ooh. Maybe there's a way we can tie this in. The inconsistency is annoying me. So what if it's CASA, and then it's like other work. Strategic design for government, or consulting for government services, something like that. That's better, but still some issues, but we're going to go with it. We don't have long, and I'd rather focus on kind of a bit more content, actually. There we go. Ooh. I'm not going to change this text or else we'll be here forever. We can work on this for ages. I just want a good enough picture, and then I can kind of fine tune where the hard points are. So other work, let's say this is I don't like the title, but we're gonna do it anyway. We have no other, well, we have other choices, but that's not the point. We'll get stuck if we don't. Well, this doesn't have auto layout on. That's weird. Why not? I always have auto layout on. Okay. We're gonna get rid of this for now. I'm gonna hide it because maybe I want to turn it back on later. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to say this is government. It's consulting. I can do this. I can speak. Consulting. Probably not going to say other things. Now, I had some things I really loved about my other portfolio. There's a few things I want to add here, and I'm going to add something after the two things I've done because I think I have something to add to this. And and I want this right at the start, I think. Or I could have it afterwards. That's a hard decision. Let's go chuck a look at our perfect portfolio slide deck that's on Portfolio OS. And let's see, have I made a template? If not, I will make one. If we don't have this, then I will definitely make one. Okay, I don't think I want a testimonial one because I'm about to chuck on some testimonials. No. Oh, there isn't one. I'll make one. And then we will definitely have one. I'm going to steal this one as a starting template because there's a lot more add-ons that can be done. And I'm going to get the content first. We always start with content. Try and keep layout if we can. But, okay. I already kind of know what I want the layout to be. It's very, very simple. I'm going to go with the stock standard pretty much. I'm going to... Ooh. Can't. Oh, it says place image in video. Oh, okay, I'm going to do it with shapes for now. I'm using my touchpad. I have a full mouse and keyboard, so I don't know why. So I want to say maybe what people, what my latest team says. I actually want to have like two here. So I'm going to have what my latest team says, and this is going to be at the end, what other people say. And so we're going to do two kind of testimonials because this is like social proof. That's what I'm after. I mean, I just want them to be like, damn. Or at least to be like, oh, hey, this guy's got like testimonials from people. He's got all the things. I'm going to chuck some Lauren Ipson because we'll make this a little component. Cool. We got some text. This is going to be like a little profile picture. I'm making noises now. Name Ipsum. Ipsum is going to be the name of the person. Now I've got fonts set up. I don't remember where the fonts came from. I think maybe we set it up at the start. I think so. That sounds familiar. We probably did something with a bold, didn't we? Nope, we didn't. Oh, well, okay. Now with testimonials, I like the text to be bigger, actually. So let's heading 3. That's pretty good. Okay, for now, I'm going to actually go take a live testimonial that I've got. Oh, you see my email. Don't look. Let's jump over to ADP list. And if anyone has joined the call, please give me a hello because I have no idea. Nope, cool. That's okay. That's what this is for. That's why it's recorded. I have been doing ADP list for a while, and I've also recently gone and sent requests for recommendations, and I've been following up with a ton of people. So if we're going to be doing some templates and just scripts that you can just take and go straight away with. But for now, we're going to use the ones that I've got from both of these platforms. They're both really good for gathering testimonials, and there's other ways you can do it with video if you wanted to, but I think text is a great starting approach. So let's find the amazing recommendations I've received from some people that I really value. And we're going to add them on here. Now, the easiest way to do this would literally be just to kind of copy this maybe. Maybe let's do that. I want to give it a go, actually. I would just make a component. That way I get to control its size, but let's pretend we're being quick and rough. We're going to do that. We're pretty much going to remake this component. That's what we're doing. So we're going to go, oh, the text is a little small. Let's remake this. Name, his title, relation to me. Okay. Title, relation to me, and these are both. I'm going to keep this basic. I'm going to go, sure, heading 6, why not? Same thing. I'm going to vary the ratio. I just want to set the component up with all the right content. 4. Let's actually look at our screenshot. Okay, there's a gap. Great. There's a gap between these two and these. So we're going to go 8. And I'm actually going to join these two together. Chuck some auto layout on. And then we're going to increase this to 16. Multiples of 8 always works. I'm going to use my latest good friend Matthew Coe, wonderful designer. We'll have him on soon. Matthew Cobb. If you're listening, Matt, that is your new name. Okay, where are you? I'm stealing your stuff, Matt. So forgive me. Excellent. And we are going to try and take as much of this, just take it direct, why not? There we go. So we're doing testimonials. And the content is important, but kind of just having the testimonials and having this lens of, hey, here's what people are saying. It's not what I'm saying. Here's what other people are saying. Can be immensely powerful. And even if they don't read it, half the time it doesn't matter. You're like, hey, I'm showing you so much proof that I'm an interview choice here. I'm not a higher choice. We'll determine that in the interview. But I'm a higher choice. So that's what we're aiming for here. I want them to like, I also, of course, want to preload them with some scripts, and I'm taking your image again. Also, yeah, of course, want them to see me as much as a higher choice. I do want the interview to kind of confirm they think I'm a higher choice. So this is kind of what I'm really doing with this, is like, hey, they kind of think I might be a good choice at this point. So the social proof, the really good case studies, targeting all those things. That's kind of all the elements we're looking for here. Is that, yes, we are a good hire. And yes, we've put effort into this. I think that's also a really good indicator. Like, hey, this person actually cares. Oakley dokley. Let's add this in. Let's chuck padding. 32. It's probably too much, but let's go. Let's be generous. And I'm going to do a stroke, and we're going to round the corners, because that's our thing right now. Now let's take a quick look. This needs to be smaller. So what have we done here? We've done 27.34. So we can do heading 5 then. Heading 5. Cool. That's a bit better. Why does this look so nice and the other one doesn't? Oh, it's kind of grey. And it's kind of heading 6, isn't it? Heading grey. Oop, that's too grey. Cool. And let's bring this up to maybe, I was going to say a body, but I'm going to bring it up to heading 5. Quotation marks. I have a practice I like doing design-wise. I like putting giant quotation marks that do not fit the actual font size at all. For some reason, I think it just kind of works. I'll show you what I mean in a sec, but don't know why, but I just heavily enjoy it. So something like, check these quotation marks in, disconnect our styles, and just really, really ramp it up like that. I'm a big fan of doing that. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and take this, we'll drop it in there, chuck the absolute on, kind of add it as a little follow-up here. Do the same over here. Chuck it there. That's kind of good. Visual, like, but pacing-wise, it's pretty good. Oh, it is throwing me off a little bit though. Like over here. It's kind of like bookending it, really. Like there. Do like that, but it is kind of sucky. So let's see, how much bigger do we need to make this for it to be readable? It's pretty good, pretty good. Now, it's a lot of text. Yes, it is. This is a little different from the usual rule I would put of, hey, try not to put a lot of text, because it's a little different in the sense that, hey, this is every word. It's not your words, it's someone else's words and why they should hire you. So I actually think that has a lot of power. And so what I try and do is I just try and clean it up a little. Try and maybe put two side by side, keep it really nice and clean. That helps the readability. So I try and maybe two per slide unless they're really short. So let's do that. Matt is now our default template. Thank you, Matt, for your service. And keep an eye out on our socials if you're interested in seeing Matt. We will have him on a call, and if you're watching this way into the future, we will also have him probably as a recording. Cool. I like this. We're going well with this design. It's using all the design elements I personally like. So, hey, if you have design elements you really enjoy, do it. Take it, use it, make it your own, incorporate what you like into it. Some people might hate this, but I like it. Okay, we're going to do maybe two of these. So, it's a little, just a hint too long, ain't it? Let's shorten it just a little. Oh, look at that. It's just maybe bring this a little close. Oops, no. We need to sort out the component, not that. I was editing the, yep, and then let's make sure that this is all still within, yep, it's all within the right component still. Great. Let's just make sure the colors were back. We just made all these changes just then. Now we do need this a little shorter, unfortunately. And our auto layout stuff is not triggering. Yep, that's in, that's not in. There we go. It's not too bad. Let's, how about, what if we extended that? Let's use our little more would work. That's as much as I'm wanting, though. The spacing now for our little asterisk is gone. What we can do is we can still keep our lovely design, but maybe we'll just drop it by. There we go. So that actually works quite well now that I think about it. So we'll drop that by 1. Okay, now I want to add this layer of social proof. Honestly, I want to do this more than I want to kind of refine my case study. There's a few reasons behind it. One is I think it will actually have quite a big impact for this role, specifically this role. One of the reasons for that is people just don't have any of it. I've seen a decent amount of graphic designer portfolios. We just did hiring for one, and I think this will be stand out. I think the area I'm in, not many great portfolios. So I think, and not many people, how would I say it, would apply for this role in a way, in a good way. Is that slightly red? If it is, I hate it. I think my computer's just in okay, no, my computer's in that night mode. Okay. Now I'm going to include these as an auto layout as well, or else I'll just lose it. And these are all going to become field containers. This is all going to be fixed. That way everything adjusts, but I'm going to have to adjust all those quotation marks again. But that's okay. Good design. You know, it's hard, takes time. Except now. Oh my god, this is not doing well. It really does not like the maybe I can't like move it. I don't think I can. Oh, it might not. I don't think it likes me doing that. Okay, what if we can we size? Okay, there is a way to fix this. I'm just going to go back to here. Just means it's a little annoying, but that's okay. What we need to do is instead chuck this here, chuck it on the side. We're gonna and then bring it back in. Got to do here is group these together, have it so it's kind of at the top. Same with this, but obviously instead it's just next to it. We don't really need a component. The component's kind of getting in the way, honestly, but tell you what, we'll get rid of that last. My design that I like so much is getting now in my way. So okay, that's going to be good enough. And what I'll do is fill these out, and then I'll just like detach them or something and modify the spacing. I think that will do good. So let's grab the next one, which is from a lovely friend called Juan. He is an amazing designer, so I highly recommend check him out if you're ever curious. Whoa, hey, that's not what we were after, my friend. Control C. I just want the testimonial. Okay, yep, we're good here. Okay. Oh, it's in white. That's why I can't see anything. I was like, oh, can't see anything. Let's see. Every time I see these, I get mildly emotional. It's just very, very kind of everyone to have said these things. And if you do testimonials, just make sure you thank the people. You know, these things, these kind words from people will support you over your career. Once you have them, in many ways, you have them forever. And so really make sure that when people do give them to you, you're deeply, deeply thankful for them. And make sure they know it repeatedly. Really stress it. Maybe a little over stress it, I would even say. I think that I think it's very important. So let's try and get these. Let's hug and fill. Let's just get my layouts properly. Everything must be perfect. And then, there it is. That'll do it. Fill, hug, done. Figured out the constraints. It's a little large, so to speak. So we could fit all these testimonials in. I could reduce it down. I'm just going to drop it to maybe heading 4. Drop it to heading 4. Because again, it is what it says, and but it's also just the showcase. So even if it's a little harder to read, once they're convinced, once this backs up where they're like, oh, I'm curious, I want to take a closer look at this, that's when people start getting interested. And that's where we're trying to get this. We want them to be curious, to think, hey, this is something different. And if it's not different, 100% unique, you can at least be maybe these top 3 portfolios, and one of those portfolios includes you, is different. That's the kind of insight we want. We want interview. Interview is what we're after. If I'm in the interview, I can definitely I can go way deeper. You can have a great portfolio, but if your interview doesn't do well, then there's some things there. Now, make sure be a little careful with people's names. This is a send-only deck, so there's confidentiality in this one. People can't just steal people's names here. It's not how this one works. I will get very angry at them if they do, and not work with them. Okay, I've just fixed up our template here. I'm liking this. I do want these centered though. I think that would be great. And damn, I love Matt and Juan's LinkedIn. It's way better than mine. But I think mine's okay. Needs a lot of love. Needs a lot of work. Okay, so we're going to center these. We're just fixing up the visual design here. Got your picture, Matt. Got your picture, Matt. Hope you don't mind your face being on here. If you do, please let me know. You have such a lovely picture, so I was taking advantage of how good it is. This is pretty much pulling straight from my LinkedIn at this point. Okay, and that's the testimonial portion. What this might be okay. And I think this adds just a really great level of what do you call it? Just a really great level of just a human touch, I should say. Now, I'm going to do this again. This front page is actually going to be more about what my team said. So I've asked them if they would be open to doing some more of what do you call it? So if they'd be open to doing some testimonials or recommendations for me. So I've actually requested all my team. I've asked each of them. I'm like, hey, would you mind doing this personally? I sent them very personal requests for this. There we go. So we're going to have what other people say. And that's going to be, let's see. I'm just going to call this testimonials. Or words from the people. I like that. Other people won't, but you know, it's okay. Think Place, executive designer. I've been a little more detailed than my resume. There are many ways I would probably make this way better. But for now, just time-wise, I might come back and do some extra work. But okay, we also need to change kind of this whole thing. We don't want these images. I do like the images. I kind of want something equivalent. I wish I had other icon packs I've worked on. So let's see if we can find a color that might do well. I want color. Blue's good, but maybe we'll go back to the ye old black and white just in case. Yeah, we'll do that. Cool, that's okay. I would prefer not, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, let's go back to our other stuff. We've switched color schemes, so maybe we might need to change that up a little. That said, if we look across, is there any colors we could utilize? And we could just go black, really. or just white, that would work, but it wouldn't stand out as much from these other pages. But I think that's kind of okay. We might utilize white just for now. I'm gonna bring this all just down to the basics. Something I would do here, or something I would love to do. I'm gonna add a comment for this. I'm a big fan of Notion, so Notion like branding. I would potentially go to humans and maybe make like a little bio of myself and chuck that in here. Kind of personalize this one a little bit. Would be ideal. Now there's a few other things I could do here. I could enhance my about me. I could give more information about me on here. The two things I've done recently was good, but I'm really not talking about me professionally. I'm also kind of using the what do you call it, the reputation as like a shorthand for, I don't need to tell you about me, here's what other people are saying about me. So that's also something that I'm kind of doing. So yeah, I also did this this hackathon thing is like really old as well. I think it's like 3 years old. The case study club stuff is the latest one. Yeah, but this is kind of just, hey, here's something interesting to throw them off a little as well. Break the script is what they would say. So now what are we missing? I need the quotes from my team here, which I'm definitely going to put together. We've got, I think these cover, frustrated with handoffs. We're talking about developers, business analysts, and all that. So I've mentioned a lot of the constraints and issues that are coming from that scenario. What do you call it? The job description. And now there might be more I want to add. I could add more pictures. I could add more notes saying, hey, this isn't all. But I want that interview. This is the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. I shouldn't say coffin. I want this to be like, okay, the work that he's shown seems to tick all the boxes. We got to get this guy in. Even if we don't hire him, we at least have to ask what the hell is happening. You've definitely got stuff, and I'm going to just add effects here. I like this little almost card-like effect on the project that way, because it's almost like it's not part of this page. It's informing the page, but it's part of a big yellow page. Something I'm going to do here is I'm going to add just a little note. You don't need this, but I kind of want to add the note. It makes me feel happy. These are select projects. And not, I don't want to say it's not the complete portfolio, because honestly, I don't want to make anything else. It's good enough. Interview me or not, that's the only choice. I do have other work I could add, and I know I should probably do it. But I'm also kind of lazy. Aren't we all? I've got longer to do it, so I could. So what I would probably do if I was adding one more, I just want more than one. Just one is a little sparse. So what we would do here is we'd probably do I'm doing this role-based Department of Education, Skills, and Employment. Now I'm doing this role-based because the industry I'm working in, it's pretty light on from a portfolio perspective that speed is way preferred. So when and this goes for all recruiting projects, but the way they're pretty much going to be doing this, they're going to have my resume, my capabilities deck, and they'll have any other responses. They're going to look at that, they're going to go through it, and they're going to have criteria. They're going to have, does the submission meet the kind of person we were expecting? And then does that person's skills meet the sort of stuff that we're also needing? Are there any gaps that we can consider? So if I went to look at my resume, especially, you might consider a gap in. I meet all the criteria pretty well, but you might consider a gap in perhaps agile teams. I think it is in here, but in terms of like, if you look at how much I talk about UX versus some of the few mentions I've got there, you might also be like, he's got some experience. He's got a few years experience with government. That's good. But beyond these two roles, he has some strange experience with, the facilitation, the community manager. Is he trying to be something else here? He's working two jobs by the look of it. Is that a risk? Is that a risk to having this person on board that they are running two jobs and they might burn out? It is a real risk, and you could remove that. You could have other projects. I could work on adding new things. One thing I just realized, I wanted to mention B2C. So I'm just going to slip that in here. Let's see, design is B2C and B2B. Excellent. Just see. It's going past my grid system, but we're not looking, close our eyes. We don't see that. This is good for our draft. The capabilities deck, we've got it refined. We've got the specifics. We need the quotes from my team. We've got the projects are slightly more refined. We've made sure the challenges are good enough here. We've added, what else have we added? We've added a second place for other work, so I'm going to have to fix that. And we had a last element of the what other people say about me. Now, I might leave this to the end, or I might actually put two testimonials up front. So I actually kind of want that, what my latest team says and what my mentees say. So that way I can kind of say both up front. So I actually like it up front. So I might go, I think that can be really strong. I like it up front just because I know how they look through these things. By the time you get to it, you're a little tired. I know it's not many slides, but I get tired fast when looking at slides. So I'm going to add both up front. That way I just want it to kind of really hammer home. That said, maybe I'll change my mind. And put it at the end. If you've got enough testimonials, chuck them at the start and the end. It works quite well. Okay, now we know we need one more slide here, and we're going to keep it really light. These are like the one-pager case studies. Now, these are a little unique. Normally, this doesn't follow the best practices for our, what do you call it, that we recommend for doing a lot of these things. This is just a bit of a unique way of doing it. I don't want to add much information. I don't have much information. So I'm trying to find a way where I can say, hey, here's the skills that were gained here. You can see from the selection criteria that in comparison to a lot of, if we go over to an actual design project from a company that's into design, they ask for way more specific things, and they're kind of more of attention on the actual detail. Whereas for a lot of government roles, they mostly focus on how long's your experience and do you have detailed skills that hit all the right keywords. That said, they also, of course, look for that in private, but it's a bit easier to target for some of these roles that I'm applying for. And again, we don't have to be perfect. The goal is to get to the interview, then I can showcase my work, talk through my story, etc. Okay, let's add some comments, and I'll finish this slide in my own time. We got to add the logo, we got to change the things. So what did I do? Pretty easy. The wireframing for a large data project will be specific if we can. We did the service design work. I'm kind of repeating my resume, honestly, a little here. You ideally don't want to do that, but I've got limited time, so at least I'm repeating the messaging. If that's all you've got time for and you feel like you can't push anymore, I'm not going to push anymore. I'm not, even if I don't get the role, I'm not too worried. It'd be great, don't get me wrong, but I'm putting the amount of effort that I want to put in for this. So for me, that means this is kind of a little repeating my resume, and it's supporting, so it doesn't matter as strongly as those past slides. What did I love? Incredible mentors, trained by Deloitte. So I love being trained by those crews. Supportive execs, diverse training and projects, and working with agile coaches. That's what I like. So that's what I'm going to add. We're going to do the in-field user research. Loved that. That was pretty cool. And that's pretty much what we're going to do. I've got screenshots. I'm pretty sure I've got screenshots that I can drop in a few things here. And that's it. Cool. Okay, guys, that's just looking through. You know, we drafted the portfolio last time. Now this is really honing for the next iteration. Now I like to do my iterations by job role. So I speed towards one job role, get as far as I can, check the outcome of that, try and get some feedback. I'll get some feedback probably from the interviews, get some feedback from this on maybe why I didn't get it if I didn't. And then what I'll do is I'll do another iteration. I'll reach out to maybe some friends, some more senior designers, get them to look over it, and we'll just go through iteration after iteration. And we're just looking at leveling up the strength, leveling up the specificity, leveling up the detail until it's really polished. And if I wanted to get this to the top tier of my game, it would probably take maybe 4 to 5 more iterations to get it right. Because there's still a lot of documenting work. There's still a lot of rethinking of trying to figure out the wording, trying to expand it, trying to find the words that aren't really giving me much value, and getting that turned around. Okay. That's all today. Hopefully that has been useful for you, just to kind of looking at the final round of refinement and targeting a specific role. I'm going to get those responses from my team, hopefully before mid next week. And I'm also going to do the writing that custom response. Honestly, it's mostly GPT. It's like 80% chat GPT. What I do is, you know, we've just done a lot of writing. So what I'll do is I'll feed it the template, feed it the draft, feed it the job role, feed it all the text we've just written. And then ask it to combine them all together. And I use ChatGPT 4 because it's way better at this. You can do 3, but it's more work to revise. And then I use that as my draft, and I just refine it a few more times. Cool. Okay, that's all. If you want to see that extra layer, let me know. I don't know if anyone will read this in time, but if you don't, maybe I'll do a live stream of it anyway. Cool. Ciao.